at-home yoga flow for anybody that just wants to learn some basic yoga poses that you can practice at home. And I have a little flow with it if you want to follow along. So to get started, we're going to get seated in a comfortable cross-legged seated position. You can have your hands on your knees or just in between your lap. And then just close your eyes and turn your attention towards your breath. Find your breath. Begin to feel your body, how you feel at the beginning of your practice. Take a deep inhale through your nose. And then exhale through your nose, just relaxing into yourself. One more inhale through your nose, slightly lifting your chest. And then exhale, rolling your shoulders back slightly. Inhaling through your nose. Exhaling through your nose and releasing the tension or any tension in your forehead, your jaw, in your body. Just let yourself sit in your comfortable cross-legged seated position. Inhaling through our nose and exhale, relaxing. You can set an intention for your practice at this moment, or just take a moment of gratitude for taking the time to stretch, feel your body, get to learn your body, move your body. Inhale through your nose. Exhaling through your nose last time, and then you can gently begin to open your eyes. Bring our arms in front of us. On our first inhale, we're just going to bring our arms up overhead, keeping our chest up, reaching our arms up, just warming up our arms a little bit, and then exhaling out and down. Hands in front of us. Inhaling, arms up, keeping our gaze forward. And then exhaling, arms out and down. One more, arms in front of us. Inhaling, arms up. And then just exhaling to the left side, bringing one arm to the mat, the other arm overhead, slight, gentle stretch over our body. Inhaling, both arms up. Finding your own breath, and then exhaling, other side, stretching over our body. We're not lifting ourselves off of our mat. Inhaling, arms up. And then exhaling over our legs. Just bring your hands onto the mat. You can bring your forehead to the mat. We're just gentle, letting gravity pull us towards the mat. Inhale, you can walk your fingertips up a little bit. And then exhale, folding over your legs. On the next inhale, you can bring your head up and then start walking your hands towards your body. Then inhaling, arms up. Switching our crisscross. And then exhale, arms out and down. Hands in front of us. Inhaling, arms up. And then exhaling to the left hand side. Arm overhead. Stretch on our side. Inhaling, both arms up. Stretching up, reaching up. And then exhaling to the other side. One arm just for support, and the other arm overhead. Feeling a nice stretch in the side of our body. Inhaling, both arms up. And then with our switch crisscross, we're going to exhale, forward fold, bring your hands to the mat. Letting your forehead fall towards the mat. Deep inhale. You can tiptoe your fingers up a little bit, and then exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, just gaze up, bring your hands back towards us. We're going to come back onto our hands and knees to warm up our spine. So tabletop position is your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees below your hips, And you can check back that your toes are pointing towards the back of the mat. So for cat, we're just gonna drop our spine, gaze goes up. And then exhale, bringing the crown of the head to the mat, arching our spine, flowing with your own breath, dropping your spine, inhaling up. And then exhaling, crown of the head to the mat, pushing away from the mat, arching your spine, dropping the spine, inhaling, looking up. Super gentle and slow with your own breath, just warming up your body, exhaling. One more, dropping your spine, inhaling up, and then exhaling, belly button to spine, pressing up. Coming back into that neutral position, we're going to come into our first down dog. So we're going to tuck our toes and keeping our knees bent, lifting our sit bone to the sky, just coming up into a down dog with our knees bent. Making sure our feet are about hips distance apart, arms or shoulders width apart, all fingers are pointing towards the front of the mat. And then sucking your belly button in, you can just start walking your dog out. One heel back, the other knee forward. Inhaling, one knee forward, the other heel towards the mat. Just warming up the back of your legs. Warming up your down dog. And then when you're ready, you can find stillness in your down dog. So both heels are reaching towards the mat. Your sit bone is to the sky, your belly button's in. Inhaling, sit bone to the sky. And then exhale, just stretching down towards the mat. Arms are engaged. Bending our knees. And then walking our legs towards our hands. We're just going to end in that forward fold with our knees bent. You want ankles together, knees micro bent. And then we're just going to let our crown fall towards the crown of the head, fall towards the mat into our first forward fold. Again, you can kind of walk your forward fold out. But depending on how you feel today, you can just stand still and grab your elbows. And then just breathe and let gravity pull you towards the mat with every exhale. So inhaling up our legs, engaging our legs, and then exhaling forward fold. Deep inhale. And then exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. And on the next inhale, you're going to roll up your spine one vertebra at a time. Bringing both arms up overhead, looking up. And then exhaling, arms down next to our sides. Again, continuing to warm up our spine slightly. We're going to inhale, arms up, gaze forward. And then exhale, elbows out, looking up, opening our heart, micro back bend. Inhaling, arms up, gaze goes forward. Stretching up, reaching up. And then exhaling, elbows out, chest to the sky, opening our hearts, micro back bend. Inhaling, arms up, gaze goes forward, sucking our belly button in. And then exhaling one more, micro back bend, elbows out. Inhaling, arms up, gaze goes forward. And then micro bending our knees, sucking our belly button in, leading with the chest forward fold. Hands all the way to the mat. You can extend your legs out if you're warmed up, or keep your knees bent. Hands to the mat. You're going to inhale, looking up, halfway lift, lengthening your spine, and then exhaling, forward fold again. One more. Inhale, halfway lift, looking forward, lengthening your spine, and then exhaling, walking our feet towards the back of the mat. Coming into our plank position, your legs are engaged, your wrists are beneath your shoulders. You can bring your knees to the mat, or just come down till you're about an inch off the mat. Tucking our toes, looking up, pressing away from the mat, upward facing dog. And then exhale into downward facing dog, tucking your toes, sit bone to the sky, and finding stillness in your down dog. feeling a little bit warmer, focusing on your own breath. Just inhale, engaging your arms, lifting your sit bone, and then exhale, heels towards the mat. One more inhale, finding stillness. And then exhale, micro bending your knees and walking your feet towards your hands, forward fold. Rolling up your spine one vertebra at a time and coming all the way back up, inhaling arms up. And then exhaling arms back down. Coming into our basic sun salutation, similar to what we just did. Inhaling, arms up, gaze forward. Coming into forward fold, leading with our chest, sucking our belly button in. Hands to the mat. Halfway lift, inhaling, looking forward, lengthening your spine. And then exhale, walking your feet towards the back of the mat and coming down into that chaturanga. Tucking your toes, looking up, pressing up. Upward facing dog, moving with our breath, and then exhaling, downward facing dog. Finding a few breaths in our downward facing dog, making sure our arms are engaged, our shoulders are away from our ears. We're lifting our sit bone, heels are driving towards the mat. They don't need to reach the mat. Looking forward, micro bending our knees. We're going to walk our feet all the way up to our hands again and just hang in our forward fold. Taking a few deep breaths. Inhale, and then we're going to exhale our right leg to the back of the mat into that crescent pose. So you want your front ankle under your front knee. Your back leg is engaged and your heel is reaching towards the back of the mat. Deep inhale. Exhale. Awesome. On the next inhale, we're going to come up with the top half of our body. So finding stability in the lower half of our body. Inhaling, arms up, getting centered between our legs. Warrior one. Inhaling, arms up. Sinking down, finding stillness. Turning into warrior two, we're going to turn our back foot parallel with the back of the mat. Arms come out, gaze goes over our front fingertips into warrior two. Inhaling, finding stillness. Exhaling. Just reaching both arms out, keeping your chest up. Bringing our elbow to our front knee, other arm overhead. Gaze goes up to the sky. Inhaling. Exhaling back into that warrior two. Inhaling. Exhaling our back arm behind our back, other arm overhead. Reverse forward. Inhaling. Exhaling back into warrior two. Gaze goes forward. And then releasing that front foot and turning it inwards, slightly pigeon-toed. We're going to bring our hands to our hips, engaging our legs and making sure the entire sole of our feet is planted onto the mat. We're not leaning onto our toes or our heels. Inhaling, chest up. Sucking our belly button in, leading with the chest. Coming down halfway into our open leg forward fold. Leaving our gaze right down in front of us. Just inhale, feeling that stretch up your legs. And then exhale, trying to fold a little bit deeper. Keeping your spine straight. Inhale. Exhale, folding a little bit deeper, making sure you're not falling onto your toes. Inhaling. And then exhale, coming up the same way we came down. Making sure everything is engaged. Turning our front foot forward, meeting both legs at the top of the mat. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, Samasthiti, so hands in prayer in front of our bodies. Inhaling, arms up. looking up, sucking our belly button in, leading with the chest, forward fold, hands to the mat. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthening our spine, and then exhaling, just our left foot to the back of the mat this time. Left leg back. So our front ankle is under our front knee. Our back leg is engaged and our heel is reaching towards the back of the mat. We're centered between our legs, and you can bring your legs out a little bit to kind of create like a wider, more solid foundation. And again, on the next inhale, you're going to look up, bring your arms up into warrior one. Inhaling, arms up. Sinking down into warrior two, making sure that back leg is engaged. Finding stillness. Inhaling. And then exhaling, we're going to turn our back foot parallel with the back of the mat. Arms out, gaze over our front fingertips into warrior two on the other side. Inhaling. And then exhaling, our elbow to our knee, other arm overhead. Getting a nice stretch in our side. Inhaling. And then exhaling, just finding stillness. On the next inhale, you're going to come back into that warrior two. And then exhaling, other arm behind your back, front arm overhead. Inhaling. Exhaling, coming back into that warrior two. Releasing that front leg. And then turning that front toe inwards, slightly pigeon-toed again. Hands onto our hips. And again, we're going to inhale our chest up, making sure our legs are engaged, sucking our belly button in, folding forward as far as we can this time. A little bit warmed up, we can go a little bit deeper into the stretch this time. Inhaling up your legs, and then exhaling into that open leg forward fold. Inhaling, and then exhaling our hands to the mat, making sure they're in between our legs, not in front, but in between our legs. Leaving our right hand centered, right down in front of our gaze. And then inhaling, left arm up, overhead, twisting our spine, stretching our arm up and trying to stack our shoulders. Inhale, stretching up. Exhale, finding stillness. Inhaling, left arm up. And then exhaling, arms to the mat. Switching our hands, left hand where right hand is. And then inhaling, right arm overhead, pushing away from the mat with our hands, stacking our shoulders. Making sure our legs are still engaged. You're going to inhale, arm up. And then exhale, just finding stillness. Inhaling, arm up. Exhaling, both hands back to the mat. Feeling one nice last stretch here. Hands to our hips. And then inhaling back up. Awesome. Now we're going to clasp our hands behind our back. Kind of bringing our shoulder blades together. Slightly tucking our chin. Inhaling, chest up. And then exhaling, forward fold. Bringing our arms overhead. This time getting a shoulder stretch along with the stretch in our legs. We're engaging our legs and bringing our arms all the way overhead as far as we can. You can bring your gaze through your legs or just down in front of you, depending on how far you can fold forward. Just make sure you're not overextending your neck or your spine, trying to keep that spine straight. So inhaling up your legs, engaging those legs, pressing towards on the outside of your feet, and then exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, coming all the way back up, keeping our hands clasped. You're going to bring your gaze all the way up overhead. Might go back, bend. Exhaling, as far back as is comfortable. Inhaling, opening your chest to the sky. And then exhaling, coming back up. Hands to your hips. Front toe point towards the front of the mat. Both legs can meet at the top of the mat. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhaling, looking up, lengthening our spine. Exhaling, feet to the back of the mat into plank. Coming down into chaturanga. So we're about an inch off the mat. And then you can tuck your toes. Looking up, pressing up, upward facing dog. And then exhale and tucking your toes, downward facing dog. Finding stillness in your down dog. And then we're going to lift our right heel off the mat into three-legged dog. Inhaling, right leg up. Exhaling, knee to chest. So bringing it as far forward as you can. Inhaling, right leg up. Exhaling, knee to chest. Gaze is in between our hands. Inhaling, right leg up. Gaze goes towards your toe. And then exhaling, knee to chest. Bringing our right leg back to the mat. Coming back into that down dog. And then to do it on the other side, we're going to inhale, left heel to the sky. Exhaling, knee to chest. Inhaling, left leg to the sky. Exhaling, knee to chest. We want to keep our hips square to the mat. Inhaling, left heel to the sky. Exhaling, knee to chest. And then bringing that left foot back into that plank position. Dropping down into that chaturanga. Tucking our toes. Looking up, pressing up, upward facing dog. And then exhaling, downward facing dog. Finding your breath in downward facing dog. Inhaling up your arms. Engaged arms, belly button in. Exhaling, just finding stillness. Bringing our knees down to the mat. Untucking our toes and then kind of opening our knees a little bit more outward. We're going to come into our child's pose. So you're going to bring your sit bone back and your arms forward. Forehead to the mat, just stretching into that child's pose. Inhaling. Exhaling, just finding your own breath. You can tiptoe your fingertips up again, just to feel that nice stretch in your sides. Exhale. On the next inhale, you can pick your head up. Coming up again, bring your knees back together. And then just coming down onto our bellies. We're going to come into our cobra. So it's not an upward facing dog. As our body remains on the floor, we're just lifting our chest and then bringing our gaze up as high as we can, using our arms as stability. So you want your hands underneath your shoulders. And you're just going to inhale, looking up, barely pressing up, just using your hands as stability. Exhaling, forehead to the mat. One more. Inhaling, looking up, just using those back muscles to lift your chest up. And then exhaling, forehead down to the mat. Tucking our toes, lifting back up into that downward facing dog. And then we're going to exhale, just walking our feet towards our hands. This time bringing them on the outside of our hands. So we're kind of in a wider stance, forward fold. You can let yourself just hang here for a minute. Bring your hands to your elbows. And then inhaling, rolling up our spine, one vertebra at a time. Bringing both arms overhead. And then exhaling, hands to prayer. Awesome. So coming down into our squat or our malasana, we can open our toes a little bit more if we'd like. Hands in prayer. We're going to inhale our chest up. And then driving our knees out, we're going to sink down all the way into our squat or our malasana. So our elbows can come on the inside of our knees. We're just going to breathe in our squat position. Inhaling, chest up. Exhaling, finding stillness. inhaling into any stretch or discomfort. And then exhale, releasing into our body. One more deep breath, inhaling into our stretch. Exhaling. Bringing our hands down in front of us. Lifting our sit bone, walking our feet back into our plank position. Again, we're going to drop down into that chaturanga. Tucking our toes. Looking up, pressing up, upward facing dog. And then exhaling, downward facing dog. Gaze goes towards our toes. Inhaling. Exhaling. Bringing our gaze between our fingers this time. We're going to step or jump in between our hands. And then we're going to drop, keeping our knees bent, we're going to drop our sit bone. Inhale, lifting our chest and our arms into our chair pose. Knees together, ankles together, inhaling, looking up. And then exhale, dropping our sit bone towards the mat. Inhaling, finding stillness. Exhaling, hands into prayer, sinking down a little bit deeper. Inhaling. Exhaling, folding forward, hands to our mat, and then just coming down, sitting down. And then opening our knees into our butterfly. So you can clasp your fingers and put them underneath your toes. Just let your knees fall towards the earth. Inhaling. And then exhaling, bring your elbows towards your legs, kind of pressing them down, just super gentle. Feeling that nice stretch, opening up your inner thighs. Inhaling. Exhaling. Breathing with every movement. And when we're ready, we're going to inhale our chest up. Bring our butterfly out a little bit further. And this time we're going to lace our fingers, or excuse me, our arms through our legs, and then grab our toes. This time you can let your back kind of fall forward, and let your forehead fall towards your feet. Just let gravity pull you towards your legs. Relaxing stretch. Passive stretch. Inhaling, coming up, bringing our hands back out of our legs. Legs out in front of us. And then we're just releasing onto the mat into our Savasana. Letting our arms fall open, our legs fall open. Resting our head on the mat. Finding our breath again. Just inhale into your entire body, bringing oxygen into your entire body. And then exhale, just releasing everything onto your mat, onto the earth. One more inhaling. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale, just letting all of your weight fall onto the earth. Releasing the tension in your forehead, in your jaw. Inhaling. And exhaling, just relaxing. Just letting your body recover, recalibrate after your practice. Breathing with every movement, we're conditioning ourselves. We're conditioning our body and our brain to learn each other. Inhaling and exhaling in our Savasana. We are relaxing. Inhale, bringing oxygen into your entire body. Exhale, just releasing everything onto your mat, onto the earth. letting everything go. Inhaling and exhaling, letting our breath return back to normal. Starting to wiggle our fingers and our toes. Bringing our knees towards our chest. Hugging your knees towards yourself, giving yourself a little stretch. And then keeping your eyes closed, we can come back up into your seated position. The one that we started in, just crisscross, hands on our knees or just in between our lap. Reminding yourself of your intention, or just taking a moment of gratitude for stretching a little bit today, moving your body. Thank you for joining me in our practice. Namaste.